The Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll.
Senators Bridges, Cook, Coram, Crowder, Danielson, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Foote, Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Hill, Heisey, Holbert,
Excused.
Lee, Lundeen, Marble, Moreno, Pedersen,
Excused.
Priola, Rankin, Rodriguez, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Story, Tate,
Excused.
Todd, Williams, Winter, Woodward, Zinzinger, Mr. President.
Here. With 32 present, 0 absent, 3 excused, we have a quorum. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we suspend Senate Rule 1B to allow a person other than a senator to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Members, this morning we are honored to have Mia de Villegas, Decker Sadie, and Tate DeHurst, all who are 8th graders from the gifted and talented students who are here to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please join us?
Good morning, members of the Senate and guests. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Approval of the journal. Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Wednesday, February 19th, 2020 be dispensed with and that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Please add the Minority Leader to the roll call. Senate Services.
Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 146 and 155. Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 1697 and 140.
Mr. Carpenter, please add Senator Tate to the roll call. Committee reports.
February 18, 2020, Committee on Local Government, after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 106, be amended as follows. This amendment be referred to Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation. February 18, 2020, Committee on Local Government, after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 157, be postponed indefinitely. February 18, 2020, Committee on Local Government, after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 128, be postponed indefinitely. February 19, 2020, Committee on Business and Labor Technology has had in consideration and had hearing on the following appointments. Recommends the appointments be placed on consent calendar, confirmed as the Special Funds Board of Workers' Compensation Self-Insures for terms expiring July 1st, 2023. Jeffrey L. Green, ARMP of Loveland, Colorado, to serve as a manager employee of self-insured employers in good standing with knowledge, risk management, and finance, reappointed. Christine Hope of Arvada, Colorado, to serve as a manager employee of self-insured employers in good standing, appointed. February 19, 2020. Committee on Business, Labor, Technology, Exercise, Committee following House Bill 1055. We refer to committee hold the favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar February 19, 2020. Committee on Business, Labor, Technology, after consideration of Mayor's Committee following House Bill 1023. Be referred to committee hold the favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar February 19, 2020. Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs after consideration of Mayor's Committee following House Bill 1010. Be referred to committee hold the favorable recommendation February 19, 2020. Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs after consideration of Mayor's Committee following House Bill 1051. Be referred to committee to hold the favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar February 19, 2020. Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs after consideration of Mayor's Committee following House Bill 1156. Be referred to committee to the whole. The favorable recommendation February 19, 2020. Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 15 be postponed indefinitely February 19, 2020. Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 105 be postponed indefinitely February 19, 2020. Committee on Judiciary after consideration of Mayor's Committee following House Bill 1026 be referred favorably. Committee on Appropriations February 19, 2020. Committee on Judiciary after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 80 be referred to committee to hold favorable recommendation February 19, 2020. Committee on Judiciary after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 129 be amended as follows. So be referred to committee to hold the favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar February 19, 2020. Committee on Judiciary after consideration of Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 76 be amended as follows. So be referred to committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation.
Message from the House.
House has passed on third reading and transmitted over as statutes. House Bill 1031 amendments printed in the House Journal February 12, 2020. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted over as statutes. House Bill 1289, 1007, 1158 amendments printed in the House Journal February 18, 2020. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted over as statutes. House Bill 1030 and 1109. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted over as statutes. House Bill 1044 amendments printed in the House Journal February 18, 2020. Amended on third reading is printed in the House Journal February 19, 2020. The House has passed on third reading and returns herewith. Senate Bill 63.
Message from the Reviser.
We herewith transmit without comment House Bill 1030 and 1109 without comment as amended. House Bill 1007, 1031, 1044, 1158, and 1289.
Members, please join me in welcoming Senator Irene Aguilar, who is here joining us today. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order for a brief moment of personal privilege for just one of the good senators from Arapahoe County.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege from the good senator from Arapahoe County.
Thank you, members. Thank you for your indulgence. We have some folks joining us here today who will... Oh, sorry, you're right. Thank you. Mr. President, request a moment of personal privilege. Yeah. One of the latter senators.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members. Thank you, everyone here, for your indulgence. We've got some folks who aren't going to be able to stick around to the end of announcements, but I did want to make sure that they were recognized while they're here. We have members of the Colorado Youth Congress today advocating for changes in our school funding system. They're high school students from across the entire state. We've got urban, suburban, rural, and from across the entire political spectrum, and they're here to fight for school funding. So I hope that you will take some time to talk with them, give them your commitment to work on this critical issue for all of the high schoolers, middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, and preschoolers in our state. And please take the time, and thank you for joining us here today, Colorado Youth Congress.
The good senator from Arapahoe County will be fined $5 for being out of compliance with Senate Rule 31F.
Thank you.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order to consideration of memorials.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will proceed out of order for consideration of memorials. Consideration of memorials. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Joint Memorial 002?
Senate Joint Memorial 2 by Senator Sonnenberg and Representative Pelton, memorializing former Colorado Senator Maynard Yost.
Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Memorial 2 and ask that it be read at length.
Mr. Carpenter, will you please read the memorial at length?
Senate Joint Memorial 2 by Senator Sonnenberg and Representative Pelton, memorializing former Colorado Senator Maynard Yost. Whereas former Senator Maynard Yost departed this life on December 1st, 2019, at the age of 83. And whereas Senator Yost was born on October 31st, 1936, in Haxton, Colorado. And whereas Senator Yost spent his formative years on a farm north of Daly, Colorado, before his family moved into Haxton when he was in the 5th grade. And whereas, in high school, Senator Yost was active in football, basketball, track, and band. And whereas, in 1954, Senator Yost joined the United States Navy and soon after earned his GED. And whereas, as a member of the Navy, Senator Yost played the drums in the Recruit Navy Drum and Bugle Corps and continued his Navy education at Communication Electrician School. And whereas, after Communication Electrician School, Senator Yost volunteered for submarine service and was transferred to New London, Connecticut for submarine school, followed by submarine electrical school. And whereas, upon graduation, Senator Yost reported for duty on the submarine USS Basugo, based out of San Diego, California, serving on board that submarine until his release from active duty in October 1957. And whereas, on November 2nd, 1957, Senator Yost married Carol Jacqueline Jackie Leonard. And whereas, Senator Yost and his wife Jackie had 4 children, sons Dennis and Richard, Rick, and daughters Shelley and Stacy. And whereas, after returning to Colorado, Senator Yost went into business with his father trucking cattle, and eventually his brother-in-law Jack and son Rick joined the family business. And whereas, Senator Yost also served as mayor of Crook, Colorado, and commander of the VFW Post 4191 of Crook, and was an active member of the Crook Volunteer Fire Department. And whereas, in 1977, Senator Yost was elected to the Colorado House of Representatives, where he served 1 2-year term and was a member of the Agriculture Committee and vice chair of the Transportation Committee. And whereas, in 1979, Senator Yost was elected to the Colorado Senate and served 1 4-year term, chairing the Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy Committee, serving as vice chair of the Transportation Committee, and serving as a member of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee. And whereas, Senator Yost served as president and chairman of the board of directors of the Colorado Motor Carriers Association, was a life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 4191, the American Legion Post 20, the BPOE 1336, and the United States Submarine Veterans Incorporated, and was an associate member of the Submarine Veterans of World War II. And whereas, after retirement, Senator Yost spent his winters in Mesquite, Nevada, where he enjoyed his favorite sport, golf. And whereas, Senator Yost was preceded in death by his father Harold in 1991, his mother Helen in 2010, his wife of 41 years, Jackie, in 1998, and his daughter Shelley in 2015. And whereas on September 22, 2006, Senator Yost married Teresa Ann Cheney Blackburn, calling her the love of his life. And whereas Senator Yost is survived by Teresa and by 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 72nd General Assembly of the State of Colorado, and the House of Representatives, concurring herein, that in the death of Maynard Yost, the people of the state of Colorado have lost a devoted public servant and an outstanding citizen, and that we, the members of the 72nd General Assembly, pay tribute to Maynard Yost for his years of dedicated public service, and do hereby extend our deep and heartfelt sympathy to the members of his family. Be it further resolved that a copy of this joint memorial be sent to Senator Yost's wife, Teresa Ann Yost of Mesquite, Nevada, Senator Yost's surviving children, Dennis Yost and his wife, Karen of Torrington, Wyoming, Rick Yost and his wife, Corey of Sterling, Colorado, and Stacy Yost Zink and her husband, AJ of Isle of Colorado. Senator Yost's grandchildren, Michael Yost, son of Dennis and Karen Yost, Casey Yost and his wife, Jenna and Jenny Yost Corta and her husband, Paul, children of Rick and Corey Yost, and Jeremiah Zink, Tim Zink, and Abby Zink, children of Stacy and AJ Zink, and Senator Yost's great-grandchildren, Joey Corta, Presley Corta, Mia Corta, Xander Yost, and Zachary Yost.
Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, thank you. Please be seated. You know, I actually have looked forward to this for a number of days, actually weeks. Started thinking about it when I was at Maynard's funeral back in December. Because Maynard was truly a country boy, raised with rural values that just wanted to serve others. As you heard in the memorial, you heard about all of the things that he helped with, whether he served as the mayor of Crook, and for those of you that don't know where Crook is, it's the large metropolitan area between Proctor and Red Lion Road. But you do that for no money, and you battle with some of the things that small communities battle with. Now, as I looked at the list and the picture, and I took the picture back to the family, and the family remembered a number of those people that he served with. Quite frankly, a vast majority of them are gone at this point. Ray Powers, many of you remember Ray Powers for years, was a senator here. There are, however, some that are still around, and many of you may remember Steve Durham. Steve Durham and Maynard Yost, Cliff Dodge, and Tom Tancredo, I'm not sure what their nicknames were, but that was a foursome that continued to get together on a regular basis, and I don't know if they planned on creating havoc or being ornery, or if it just came natural. I remember Rick, one of his sons who now takes the trucking company, who runs the trucking company, when they would come to town, Rick would give me a heads up. I'd sneak in just to say hello to those folks. And it was actually cool to see them, even just a couple, 3 years ago, still continue that relationship. What I will tell you about Maynard that everybody needs to remember is he was truly a public servant. A servant who wanted to make sure his neighbors were taken care of, his family was taken care of, and eventually those that he represented in the Senate were taken care of. There were some great pictures, and I won't go through many of the stories that they would share, other than to say that I've known the Yost family for a number of years. And before Dennis has a chance to wrap me out, I actually sang at his wedding. And my son has also worked for Rick hauling cattle. So we are a close-knit family and community, and it's actually an honor to be here to speak about a good friend and public servant, Maynard, and have his family here as part of this celebration. Members, I'm sure there's probably not going to be a number of you that have ever met Maynard before. And we contacted some of the folks that he served with, and they're either too old to move around or not in the country here somewhere close. And so I'll give an opportunity for others to speak, but let me close by saying Maynard will truly be missed. He was an icon. He knew how to work across the aisle when he didn't have to solve problems for the entire state, to work on those transportation issues that we are still working on today. But back then, even when he was in the majority, reached across the aisle to figure out how we make this work for everybody in Colorado. For that, I am honored to be here to present his memorial and ask for your support as we move forward in paying tribute to a great member of this body. Mr. President, I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the adoption of Senate Joint Memorial 002. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused, Senator Sonnenberg, would you like to request a roll call vote? Senator Sonnenberg.
That would be absolutely wonderful. Madam President, I do request a roll call vote.
Thank you. Mr. Carpenter, please do a roll call vote.
Senators Bridges. Bridges, aye. Cook. Cook, aye. Quorum. Quorum, aye. Crowder. Crowder, aye. Danielson. Danielson, aye. Donovan. Donovan, aye. Finberg. Finberg, aye. Fields. Fields, aye. Foot. Foot, aye. Gardner. Gardner, aye. Janal. Janal, aye. Gonzalez. Gonzalez, aye. Hanson. Hanson, aye. Hill. Hill, aye. Heisey. Heisey, aye. Holbert. Holbert, aye. Lee. Lee, aye. Lundeen. Lundeen, aye. Marble. Marble, aye. Moreno. Moreno, aye. Pedersen, excused. Priola. Priola, aye. Rankin. Rankin, aye. Rodriguez. Rodriguez, aye. Scott. Scott, aye. Smallwood. Smallwood, aye. Sonnenberg. Sonnenberg, aye. Story. Story, aye. Tate. Tate, aye. Williams. Williams, aye. Winter. Winter, aye. Woodward. Woodward, aye. Zinzinger. Zinzinger, aye. President Garcia. President Garcia, aye. Madam President.
Aye.
Madam President, aye.
With 34 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused, Senate Memorial 002 is passed. Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Thank you. And is there any objection? Seeing none, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask for a moment of personal privilege to introduce a couple of the Yost family.
Is granted.
Thank you, members. I'm not going to introduce them all, but I do want to introduce you to the children. So first, Dennis. I'll have Dennis stand up. He lives in Wyoming now. Rick. Rick runs a trucking company in Sterling, and Stacy. Those are the 3 children. Now, would all of the spouses and children and grandchildren all stand up as well? Members, help me say thank you to the Yost family, to donating, I say, allowing their father and grandfather to serve in the Senate away from home while they took care of things, and allowing us to pay tribute to them today. Help us say thank you. And also, Madam President, I don't know if I talked a little bit about the honoring us Senator Yost's last chair was back there where Heisey sits, so I don't know if it's something about that back row, but we're going to blame Senator Yost for me being ornery and Heisey being ornery from being back in that corner. With that, Madam President, thank you. Members, thank you.
In honor of one of our former colleagues, we would request that the chimes be played, be rung. We will have a brief recess to take time to greet the family of Senator Yost, and thank you so much for being with us today. Brief recess.
The Senate will come back to order. Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, will you please read the titles to all the bills listed on the consent calendar?
Senate Bill 155 by Senator Sonnenberg and Representative Pelton concerning the continued presumption of non-injury to water rights regarding the use of an exempt well for domestic purposes after the land on which the well is located has been divided into multiple parcels. Senate Bill 146 by Senator Priola and Representative Bockenfeld concerning modifications to the Revised Uniform Unclaimed Property Act related to property held by a financial organization.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the passage of all the bills in the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes Senate Bill 155 and Senate Bill 146.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the third reading bills consent calendar? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 155 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Cook, Crowder, Rodriguez, Tate, Donovan, Moreno, Heisey, Smallwood, Scott, Rankin, Gardner, Bridges, Marble, Lee, Todd, Lundeen. Please add the president. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 146 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senator Gardner. Senators Hansen, Tate, third reading of bills. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to Senate Bill 093.
Senate Bill 93 by Senators Foot and Pembroke and Representative Jackson concerning protections related to mandatory agreement provisions in connection with enacting the Consumer and Employee Dispute Resolution Fairness Act.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 93 lay over until tomorrow, February 21st.
You have heard the motion to lay over Senate Bill 093 to 221. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 093 will be laid over until 221 and retain its place on the calendar. General order, second reading of bills. Senator Hansen.
Forgot it was up today.
The good senator from Denver is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted and the Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Hansen will take the chair.
No. I'm gonna wait over.
I actually have some interest in that.
Yeah, we'll do it. I think I'm laying it over to Monday.
Job you got. Okay. I have positive interest.
The committee will come to order and the coat rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 120?
Senate Bill 120 by Senator Danielson concerning requirements for registered apprentices.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 120 lay over until February 24th.
You've heard the motion. Are there any objection to laying Senate Bill 120 over till, pardon the date again?
February 24th.
February 21st. Thank you. Any objection? 24th, pardon me. 24th.
Unless folks want to come in on February 21st. I guess that's tomorrow.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, Senate Bill 120 will be laid over until February 24th. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 119?
Senate Bill 119 by Senator Janal and Representative Hawkins Lewis concerning expanding the Canadian prescription drug importation program to include prescription drug suppliers from nations other than Canada upon the enactment of legislation by the United States Congress authorizing such practice.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 119 lay over this time until February 21st.
All right, you've heard the motion. Any objection to laying over Senate Bill 119 to February 21st? Seeing none, Senate Bill 119 will be laid over until tomorrow. All right, will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 126?
Senate Bill 126 by Senators Story and Smallwood and Representatives Robertson and Van Winkle concerning the operation of a licensed family child care home in a common interest community.
Senator Story.
Thank you. I move Senate Bill 126 and the committee report.
Thank you. To the committee report.
Thank you. This committee report allows for physical environmental changes for licensed family child care homes.
Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of local government committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The committee report is adopted. Senator Story, to the bill.
Thank you. Senate Bill 126 concerns home child care in homeowners association communities. More than half of Coloradans live in a child care desert where children ages 0 to 5 vastly outnumber licensed child care providers. And infant care costs are more than college tuition in many cases, and licensed slots have been on the decline since 2010. So Senate Bill 126 will provide opportunities for licensed in-home child care to be provided in communities with HOAs. These licensed child care homes will serve a small number of children ages 0 to 5, and this will allow us to educate more of our state's earliest learners and empower parents to have the choice to return to the workforce. I urge a favorable vote.
All right, thank you, Senator Story. There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L006?
Amendment L006, Senate Bill 126 by Senator Williams, amendment printed bill page 2 before line 18, insert 3. The association may require the owner or operator of family or child care home located in the common interest community to carry liability insurance at reasonable levels determined by the association's executive board, providing coverage for any aspect of the operation of the family child care home for personal injury, death, damage to personal property, and damage to real property that occurs in or only common elements in the
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, L006, we had a conversation in the committee hearing, and I want to thank the sponsors for bringing this actually to help us with our child care issues here in Colorado. But one of the things we need to think about is liability concerns, that if a child care is operating in an HOA, we want to make sure that if they are using the common elements, which they probably would, like playgrounds or swimming pools and things of that nature, that if there is an incident or damage or destruction to the common element, that the HOA is not held liable for those types of incidences. And licensed child care for homes are for-profit businesses, and HOAs are nonprofit corporations, and we don't want them to be responsible for the costs that may be associated with damage or destruction to the common elements. And insurance premiums for HOAs are usually one of the most highest ticketed items, and as many of you know, those who pay HOA association dues are helping to support the HOAs. And so we want to make sure that any liability is not passed on to the HOAs and or those homeowners in those communities. So I would ask you for an aye vote on L006 that will allow the association. They may require the owner or the operator of the child care facility in a common interest community to carry liability insurance. This will make sure that the coverage for any aspect of the operation of the child care in the home from personal injury, death, damage, or due to personal property. And if so, the association will be named as an additional insured to the liability policy, and there may be required in any instance for the association to carry the insurance under the terms of the declaration. And this will codify it in Kiowa and give HOA associations some direction, so I ask you for an aye vote.
Senator Williams, do you mind moving the amendment?
Mr. President, Mr. Chair,
Thank you. Senator Williams.
Mr. New Guy, I move L006 and ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Williams. Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I rise in support of L006 and also of the bill. I think that this makes a good bill better, and part of that is just looking at the risks that are oftentimes afforded to someone who has extra children in their homes. I know that as former teachers, my husband and I always carried an umbrella policy. We always carried that extra insurance, and not running a business, but just knowing that when you have children in your home and you're responsible for them, I think this, having the requirement of liability, a proof of liability insurance, just absolutely codifies the importance and responsibility that it falls back on the owner of that HOA or of that home, as opposed to it falling on the responsibility of the HOA. So with that, I would urge an aye vote on L006 and also an aye vote on Senate Bill 126.
Thank you. Any further discussion on L006? Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my colleague and I view this as a friendly amendment. It's permissive. Allowing the association to require the insurance for the business owner is certainly not an uncommon practice in the world of business, requiring a certain level of protection. So we would also ask for an aye vote on L006.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L006. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. L006 is adopted. Senator Story.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 126 as amended and urge a favorable vote.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill as amended is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report. It's a little hard. It's a little hard to hear some of the. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I don't know if this helps here. I couldn't hear Senator Williams' joke. What did she say? All right. Yeah, I'll just turn it up.
Put his cheat sheet. The Senate will come back to order. Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Madam President, your committee holds lead reports that in consideration of the following text bills being second reading thereof makes following recommendation: 1, Senate Bill 126, submitted pass second reading order, gross place in the calendar for the reading and final passage. Senate Bill 119 laid over until 2/21/20, retaining its place in the calendar. Senate Bill 120 laid over until 2/24/2020 and retaining its place in the calendar.
Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Are there any no votes? The motion is for the adoption of the Committee of the Whole. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, 34 aye, 0 nay, and 1 excused. The Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Governor appointments. Senate Bill 126, as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 119 laid over until 2/21/2020 and retaining its place on the calendar. Senate Bill 120 laid over until 2/24/2020 and retaining its place on the calendar. Governor's appointments. Consideration of governor's appointments. Will the clerk please read the appointments to the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee?
Member of the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee for term expiring August 24th, 2023, Tricia A. Stiles of Aurora, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the confirmation of Tricia Stiles to the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of Tricia Stiles to the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee. Are there any no votes? With 34 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused, Tricia Stiles is, the appointment is confirmed. Announcements. Senator Fields.
Good morning, Madam President. I have an announcement for those who serve on the Senate Health and Human Service Committee. We will not be hearing Senate Bill 5. We're going to be hearing that next week. Thank you.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, we have the optometrists down in room 109. Please go and visit them. It is the year of the eye for eye health, and they're having lunch at 11:30, and there's a proclamation that probably was already read at 10 o'clock on the West Steps by Governor Polis about 2020 being the year of eye health. So please go and visit our optometrist downstairs, pick up a t-shirt, and say hello. And I have one more announcement, and that is the Clock Caucus will be meeting in room 357 today at noontime, and there's lunch there as well. They'll be talking about the Colorado Parks and Wildlife on endangered wildlife and mountain lions and other topics as well. So thank you.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
It is granted.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, last night we had a committee hearing hearing Senate Bill 193, and I thanked the staff. I thanked many people, but there was one person I forgot to thank, and I wanted to do that today. It was not you. Anyway, we have staff that is like our co-pilot. You know, that's the person that sits to the right of you, and they're managing all the witnesses in reference to who speaks, who's next, and they're maintaining notes, and they're taking minutes. And I forgot to thank Ms. Haskell. So I wanted to publicly announce that I appreciate all of her work. It's not easy doing that work when we had over 400 witnesses show up. We started at 10:15, we were done at 1:30, and I failed to acknowledge all of her hard work. So today I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you, Ms. Haskell. We appreciate all that you do.
Majority Leader Fenberg. Oh, I'm sorry. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Madam President. Transportation and Energy will meet 10 minutes upon adjournment. We are hearing one bill, which is Senate Bill 159. I look forward to seeing you 15 minutes. at the request of our vice chair. 15 minutes, and we have one bill, Senate Bill 159. I look forward to seeing you there.
Senator Zenzinger. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, the Appropriations Committee will be meeting tomorrow morning at 8:45, and we will be taking up one bill, and that is House Bill 1019. 8:45, one bill, 1019.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to echo the good senator from Aurora and her comments and commendations of the staff who made yesterday's hearing smooth and productive. I also just wanted to thank everyone else in the building, the sergeants, the State Patrol, and all of everybody who made sure that everyone was able to have their voice be heard in regards to the deliberations around Senate Bill 163. Thank you all very much, and I hope you all have lots of good coffee this morning. Thank you.
Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, just a quick reminder, I think we've talked about it a few times, but if you plan to be out after you've checked in with myself and the minority leader or the president and secretary, you should still come to the well during announcements to state the days that you plan to be out, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Madam President, we do have some bills to read across in a bit, so I move the Senate. You're fine. We got you. We will be enforcing this more strictly on Monday. If you plan to be out tomorrow and we already know about it, that's fine. Madam President, I move the Senate recess until 11 a.m. today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will recess until 11 a.m.